Hi everybody young and old. I'm Gemma, and this is What You're Talking About Willis. Susie's out getting groceries right now, and I just took a shower, and it's really hot in Florida, so I'm not wearing a top right now. Today, I'm going to talk about my first time. No, not that way. I mean my first time doing all the things not perverted. The first place I traveled. Well, I was just shy of a year old, and I had to stay with my grandparents in Indiana because my mom had to go to my grandmother's funeral, actually, in the Philippines. And then about a couple months later, I got to go with her and my dad to see all my family in the Philippines. So that was the first state and country that I traveled to. Of course, I don't remember anything, but yeah, my first vehicle, it was a 99 Explorer XLT. Nothing special, no AC, but it got me from point A to point B. And I got to break it in before it died on me. My first teacher, well, kindergarten teacher, I guess. Her name was Miss Kinsler. I can remember that because kindergarten, Kinsler, it always kind of stuck. She was the sweetest teacher ever. I'm glad I had her. First person to text me today, actually, was Susie. She texted me as soon as she got off break to let me know that she was on break and we were going to talk for a little bit. So I should be ready. My first love. It's so cheesy and sappy, but I already know I love Susie, and she's my first love. And I hope we get to spend many, many, many more years together. My first pet. Besides guppies, I had guppies, the little fish things. Yeah, you can't really play with them, so they didn't last very long. They just sat in the corner of a room, you know? Like a picture, pretty picture. Moving picture. But my first pet after that was a golden retriever black lab mix, and I named her Princess. Give me a break, I was only 5. She lasted all the way up until the last day of 8th grade. So while everybody was crying about losing their friends, I had to come home crying that my dog had passed. My first cell phone was a Verizon flip phone. First date. My first date was cheesy, the movies. Yeah, like all things, you think it'd be awkward and wondering if you're going to hold hands or not, or watch the movie, or can't talk. So, yeah, you sit there for 2 hours, awkward as hell, trying to pay attention to a movie, but trying to interact on a date? Yeah. My first job. My first job was, besides babysitting, of course, my brothers and sisters and neighbors down the street, first official job was working at a kennel. It was a grooming store. It was called Groomingdale's of Naples. It's still there. And shout out, you must go check out Brooks Legacy Animal Rescue. It gives all pets a second chance, and you need to go check it out. I worked at Groomingdale's for 2 years, the last 2 years of high school, when I was 16, 17, 18. I basically walked each dog, cleaned each kennel, bathed the ones that needed to be bathed, fed, watered, cleaned up the store, and everything like that after hours. And made sure it was all clean for them the next morning for them to do what the groomers and everything needed to do. So, I was the dirty back of the store person. Your first channel or video? My first channel was Cowgirl963, and it's still there on YouTube now. It was just me starting to get YouTube and everything like that, and I'm trying to pick it back up again, of course. But my first video was just a slideshow of pictures, figuring out editing and stuff like that, because I am really into photography, and that came first before videography, I guess. My first game console, no lie, first and only one I've ever owned personally was a Nintendo 64. Yeah. I mean, old, but I'm not that old. I don't know. You know? Anybody remember that? And last but not least of my first piercing were my lobes. Boring. But I had to get them re-pierced like 5 years later because the lady who did it before pierced it crooked, diagonally, instead of straight across. And, of course, it pissed me off, so I had to get it re-pierced. Yeah, so that's my story of first, and I hope you guys tune in next time. I may or may not be sporting clothes. Who knows with this hot Florida weather. Bye, everybody.